Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 137. Without any delay, start explanation. Tang Wulin was known for having a bottomless pit of a stomach. He had already conned Yuan and Yehui once into treating him to a meal in exchange for smithing a metal for her. But now before their very eyes was Enea, shoving bite after bite of meat skews into her little mouth, tossing each used stick into a pile at a rate that was almost on par with Tang Wulin's. Xie and Yuan and Yehui both thought they were dreaming. Although she wasn't as active as her brother, Enea still managed to strike fear into the hearts of onlookers at how quick she made the food disappear. A third of the dishes ended up in her stomach. Xie gulped, his eyes wide as they drifted to Tang Wulin. "Boss, is everyone in your family a glutton? Enea, you shouldn't learn from your brother. He's a bad example to follow." Enea giggled and reached for another meat skewer. Rolling his eyes at Xie, Tang Wulin said, "Please. Don't you understand how wonderful eating is? Enea, you want some more?" She shook her head. "I'm good, big brother. I'm full. That was good food. It's been a long time since I had something like this." Tang Wulin smiled, warmth in his gaze. They weren't the same young children from 6 years ago, wide-eyed and innocent. From when Enea had been taken out of his life. They both grew since then. But if Tang Wulin had to be honest, she had changed more than he had. He could tell that she was deliberately avoiding certain topics, such as those regarding her family. She always directed the conversation in another direction whenever he even slightly tested the waters. After the second time, he took the hint and stopped prodding. He didn't want to make things difficult for her. As long as she was his little sister, it was enough. The grill shop was getting busier and busier, a long line already twisting down the street. Guests had cycled to and from the tables, and only Tang Wulin's party had remained throughout. Through the clamoring of the guests, Tang Wulin heard someone say in a hushed voice, "Wow! That little missy really knows how to eat." Having detected ill intent in their voice, he looked up from his food to identify the speaker, his sense of hearing heightened from breaking his fourth seal. Since Yuan and Yehui was currently in her male disguise, Enea was the only person in their group that looked like a girl. Tang Wulin soon pinpointed where the voice had come from. A group of 3 young men in their 20s, chests exposed and arms covered in unseemly tattoos. A single look was enough for him to tell they were thugs. The crowd parted to let these men through. Not even the shop owner dared to say anything. He just lowered his head, focusing on the grill as if it were the most interesting thing in the world. As if his customers weren't about to get harassed. The one who had spoken stood at the front left of their group. He looked like a monkey, exposing his chest despite being all skin and bones. "Little lady, you talking about that silver-haired girl?" asked the man in the center. He wore his hair in a faux hawk and had bulging muscles. A real bull of a man. The tattoos running along his arms gave him a violent and fierce edge. "Yeah. Big bro Feng, it's that girl. She's quite the looker already. I bet she'll be smoking hot in a few years." "Isn't she kinda young?" asked Feng. Lei exposed a smile that was more teeth and gums than anything. "Young is good. Haven't you heard? You gotta groom pretty girls from childhood. That's how you get close to them." The other thugs hooted with laughter and grunted in agreement. Their filthy gazelle converged on Enea. Not bothering to keep the voices down since the beginning, the thugs basically broadcasted their dirty thoughts to everyone in the shop. Many of the other patrons sent sympathetic looks to Tang Wulin's party. Tang Wulin and Enea just continued eating as if nothing happened. The shop owner pushed through the door and walked into the fenced eating area, bringing over 5 freshly grilled skewers of squid to Tang Wulin's table. Astonished, Tang Wulin looked up at the owner. "Boss, we already got all we ordered." The owner placed himself between Tang Wulin's group and the thugs, using his body as a makeshift wall. "These are my treat. But you kids should leave immediately. Those guys who just walked in are good-for-nothings looking for trouble. You shouldn't get involved with them. But we're right by Shrek Academy. They actually dare misbehave with the academy next door. The owner smiled bitterly. Even if they are right outside, they don't police everything. Shrek City's public order is pretty good to begin with, but you can't be rid of all the criminals. Those guys had probably gotten expelled from Shrek Academy at one point. Or maybe they are one of the hopefuls who failed to get in. Either way, they harbor a lot of resentment and refuse to leave the city, straying further and further from the right path. Tang Wulin's eyes went wide. Then they are also soul masters. Probably. The owner shot him a meaningful look, eyes gesturing to the exit. Tang Wulin smiled. Don't worry. We were just about to leave anyway. He picked up the skews the owner just brought out and devoured them each in a couple of bites. Then he settled the bill. Xie glanced at Tang Wulin, asking in a hushed voice, "Captain, do you want me to?" Tang Wulin shook his head. "It's fine. We're going. Enea, are you ready to leave?" Enea nodded and smiled wide, a bit of sauce at the corner of her mouth. Grabbing a napkin, Tang Wulin gently wiped it away. "Let's go then." The four of them stood up to exit the shop. But the thugs barred their way at the door. "Hey kids, you leaving already? I saw that you only ate food earlier. How about having some drinks with us too? Booze is good stuff." "Let's all grab some drinks," said the skinny man, his smile reminiscent of filth as he placed a hand on Tang Wulin's shoulder. Tang Wulin returned a polite smile. "No thanks. We're already full. And we're still minors, so we can't drink." "Well, you kids can leave then. But you know, that girl looks familiar. She sure looks like my little sister who I haven't talked to for many years." The man's beady little eyes swept up and down Enea's body lecherously. "How about we chat a little?" Tang Wulin and Enea had blank looks on their faces. Even Xie and Yuan and Yehue couldn't help but crack up a bit. "Wait a minute," said the muscular man, the one who seemed like the leader of the thugs. "Big bro Feng, what's up?" Feng stared down Tang Wulin. "Are you kids from Shrek Academy?" Tang Wulin's heart thumped. "How do you know?" The man clicked his tongue. "You kids are able to remain so calm and confident even in a situation like this. The only kids this ballsy around here are from Shrek Academy." The other thugs looked at Tang Wulin's group, jaws dropping, the predatory glints in their eyes disappearing in a flash. Every single citizen of Shrek City prided themselves on being neighbors with Shrek Academy. "Well, you're right. We're students at Shrek Academy," Tang Wulin answered calmly. "Now, do you mind moving out of the way?" The man advanced 2 steps on Tang Wulin until the two were staring at each other face to face. "I'll let you go. But first, have a spar with me. You're free to leave after that." Tang Wulin narrowed his eyes. "What if I refuse? My name is Feng Ling. If you refuse, then I will still let you pass. But I will proclaim that Shrek Academy's students are no match for Feng Ling." There was a provocative glint in Feng Ling's eyes, just daring Tang Wulin to refuse. "Now you're just taking advantage of me. You've probably got a whole decade on me," Tang Wulin said, never breaking eye contact as he grinned. He was sure that if not a decade, then Feng Ling was at least 7 or 8 years his senior. Taking advantage? Feng Ling crossed his arms. "Fine. If any one of you can take a single attack from me, then I'll let you all go. Big brother, let me take care of this." Enea stepped past Tang Wulin before he could react. A wave of power burst from her body, her silver eyes shining iridescently. Feng Ling felt as if hundreds of swords were aimed at him, their razor-sharp edges grazing his skin. He instinctively summoned his martial soul to defend himself. But he was too late. In a flash, a silver spear pricked his throat. The chill of metal on skin froze his blood. If the spear had moved a centimeter further, he would be dead. His martial soul summoning was interrupted, his soul power unable to circulate properly to call forth his martial soul. He stood still, sweating, paralyzed by fear. From start to finish, the whole encounter lasted no more than 1/10 of a second. Her movements had been too fast to follow, no more than a blur. A mere flicker. Whether it were Tang Wulin or Yuan and Yehui or anyone else present, no one could keep track of what had happened. For soul rings revolved around Enea. 3 purple, 1 black. She held a silver spear nearly 4 meters in length against Feng Ling's throat with a single, still hand. A fine layer of silver hexagonal scales decorated the slender shaft, spanning the entire length. At the end of the spear was a single blade. It made up a third of the total length of the spear and featured a conical tip. On it were 12 grooves, perfect channels for the blood of any it pierced. A shiver ran down Feng Ling's spine. His knees buckled, legs collapsing beneath him. Something warm and wet ran down the sides of his thighs to his ankles, but he didn't have the capacity to care at the moment. Complexion deathly pale, he wore not a hint of his previous bravado. All the while his underlings watched in fearful silence, postures no longer as proud, mouths wiped of shameless grins. None of them dared to make a move. They were all soul masters and understood what the soul rings of Enea signified. Such a soul ring configuration at the age of 13 held only one explanation. She was from the inner court. As one who belonged to Shrek Academy's elite class, she was destined to one day overturn the continent. Her young age only amplified her status. An inner court student as young as her was as rare as a phoenix. Enea hadn't even spared Feng Ling a glance the entire time, her gaze fixed on Tang Wulin, a sweet smile dancing on her lips. "Big brother, let's get going. I still want to chat with you some more. Let's not waste time on these guys." Tang Wulin stared at her blankly. When he first began cultivating, she hadn't even awakened her martial soul. Yet now she was more powerful than him, already attaining the strength of a soul ancestor with 4 mighty soul rings. She possessed the black 4th soul ring he so desperately hoped for as well. Is that spear her martial soul? Is she an agility type? She's so great. Tang Wulin had felt his blood essence rousing when her spear appeared. It piqued his interest. The spear disappeared in a silver flash. Then Enea walked past the thugs. Tang Wulin, Xie and Yuan and Yehui snapped out of their dazes and followed. While Xie kept a straight face, Yuan and Yehui's eyes shone brightly, a gaze glued to Enea's back. She wanted to know where she stood relative to Enea. If she could handle the speed Enea exhibited. Enea acted as if nothing had happened. She latched onto Tang Wulin's arm the entire way back, sneaking tender glances at him from time to time, smiling adorably while she praised the food they just ate. Tang Wulin's heart warmed at the sight of her so animated. But buried deep was an inkling of doubt. That silver flash. He couldn't get it out of his head. After Tang Wulin's party left, Feng Ling and his thugs eventually regained themselves. They were pale, trembling with fear still. But in the end, they returned home with their tails tucked between their legs. What the thugs had seen was merely the tip of Enea's power. They couldn't even fathom the gap between them. Once Tang Wulin's group returned to campus, Tang Wulin directed his attention to Xie and Yuan and Yehui. "You guys go on ahead. I'm going to go cultivate on Sea God's Island for a few more days. I'll be back by the start of the semester. Yuan and I'll deliver what I promised you then." "Okay," Yuan and Yehui said, before heading for her room. Xie swept his gaze from Tang Wulin to Enea. A few words danced at the tip of his tongue, but in the end he said nothing. He waved goodbye to Tang Wulin and ran after Yuan and Yehui like a puppy. Tang Wulin and Enea turned onto the path to the inner court. She skipped along ahead of him, humming a cheerful tune. As he watched her, he couldn't help but smile. "Mom, Dad, I've finally reunited with Enea. I'll find you two next. I will reunite our family. Sun with rays. Yuan, wait for me." Xie shouted as he chased after her. Yuan and Yehui headed straight for their dormitory without sparing him a glance. Owing to his speed, Xie eventually caught up with her. "Yuan, there's something I want to talk to you about." He made sure to scan the area for onlookers before speaking in a hushed voice. "What are you being all secretive for?" From the corner of her eye, she snuck a peek at him. Her anger had subsided in the last 2 days. Looking back with a clear head, she had determined that Xie truly hadn't peeked on purpose, and his confession had moved her. He was the first boy to show her any affection. Even if she didn't like the circumstances under which he confessed, it still left a deep impression in her heart. No one disliked being loved. She kept telling herself to ignore him, but she wasn't angry enough to follow through anymore. Then there were the chores. Xie cleaned the dormitory daily, and had recently picked up the task of bringing her a fresh basin of water every morning. He kept at it even at her act of ignoring. Even at her scorn. Don't you think Wu Lin and his little sister are close? Like, too close? They are not siblings by blood. And his sister is so pretty too. Xie exclaimed. What are you saying? She narrowed her eyes as she watched him. Nothing much. I'm just a bit worried. His little sister's girl power is too strong. She's absolutely stunning and super attached to him. There's no way a man won't be attracted to her. Of course, I'm not talking about me. You're the only one in my heart. Get away from me. Yuan and Yehue hastened her steps. Wait. Don't run. Hear me out on this. Xie said as he tailed her. I'm worried. What about Guu? None of us are blind here. It's obvious that she likes Wu Lin. You've been around us for a while now too. What do you think will happen to Guu if Wu Lin ends up with his little sister? Yuan and Yehue froze, her eyes once again focusing on Xie. What does that have to do with you? Just mind your own business. Let them sort out their relationships themselves. Worry flitted in Xie's eyes. But we're friends. I don't want anything to come between that. And you've seen how differently Guu treats Wu Lin. So what if I've seen it? Or if I haven't? You've barely started puberty and your head's already full of this rubbish. No wonder you're so weak. Xie's face soured. How am I weak? Aren't you just saying I don't meet your standards? Indifference coated Yuan and Yehue's words. As long as you understand, then it's fine. You don't have to say it out loud. Xie glared at her. Then if one day I'm able to defeat you, marry me. Yuan and Yehue stopped in her steps. Bit by bit her neck turned, robotically, until her eyes were aligned with Xie's for a third time. Her lip twitched but she uttered not a word. Then she lurched forward and broke into a mad dash for her room. Naturally, Xie was not one bit discouraged, pumping his fist in the air. She didn't say no. So if I become stronger than her, I'll have a chance. Beating her though? The grin on his face that had just formed quickly melted away. That's going to be hard. Both her martial souls are amazing. It's not fair. I have twin martial souls too, but mine can't compare. Damn it. I have to work harder. I have to defeat her. Xie's thinking was on the right track. He had to show off his manly appeal for any hope of winning Yuan and Yehue's heart. After a short while, Tang Wulin and Enea reached the lakeside of Sea God's Lake. Big brother, aren't you going to ask about my martial soul? Enea prompted as she summoned her spear. With a flick of her hand, it writhed and undulated, no more than a silver blur. It's called the Silver Dragon Spear. Silver Dragon Spear? Tang Wulin's eyes went wide, his heart racing with anticipation. With a giggle, her martial soul vanished. She hopped onto the small boat parked on the shore with the grace of a fairy. Tang Wulin quickly followed suit. The moon hung clear in the evening sky. Below, the lake caught the lunar and celestial glow, cascading reflection upon the calm surface. Their small boat cut through the lake of stars, ripples distorting the still image in their wake. The stars are pretty tonight, Enea said, a gleeful smile tugging on pink lips. Tang Wulin took in her joyful expression and found it contagious. His heart was at peace. It didn't matter to him that she was a powerful soul master. No. All he cared about was that his little sister was safe and sound. That they had reunited. This beautiful, serene scene was fleeting, the boat slowly approaching Sea God's Island. But it was precious all the same. After docking on Sea God's Island, the two disembarked, their feet taking them toward the center of the island. Enea clung to Tang Wulin's arm, her lips never changing from an adoring smile. He couldn't help but ruffle her hair the way he did when they were kids. The love in her eyes. He could see them glowing so. "This is where I live," Enea whispered, her arm slowly rising, a finger pointed at a small wooded hill to the side. Tang Wulin stopped and faced her. "Okay. Hurry on home. Big brother, we meeting at the same place tomorrow," she said, looking up at him. "Sure. I'm not sure if I can stay out this long tomorrow though. I still need to cultivate." "Yay. I'll be happy as long as I get to see you." With that, Enea waved him goodbye, then left for the hill, her figure shrinking with every step. After she was no longer a speck in the distance, Tang Wulin took in a deep breath. In and out. The joy in his heart for reuniting with Enea burned radiantly, warming his chest in soft brushes. In the next few days, Tang Wulin diligently practiced Golden Dragon Shocks the Heavens. Since his blood essence was as vigorous as it was and he had already achieved the foundation of reversing his blood essence flow, he quickly picked up everything from Shuasha's next lesson, which was on the 6th day, and covered the second of the 9 arts of the Scarlet Dragon. Dragon Shakes the Earth. For Tang Wulin, the art was more personalized. Golden Dragon Shakes the Earth. After shocking the heavens, shaking the earth next seemed the most appropriate. Tang Wulin was able to progress quickly thanks to his foundation in Golden Dragon Shocks the Heavens. However, he was still sullen. Try as he might, he still couldn't figure out the purpose of his second blood essence soul skill. Apart from causing his scales to shine, that was all that trouble to break the 4th seal, but the soul ring he gained appeared to be useless. Although he didn't pay too much mind to Enea's strength, her 4 soul rings and masterful spear technique ignited a fire to cultivate in his heart. He had spent the last few days fervently cultivating, his dates with Enea his only periods of rest. He was desperate to grow, to improve his combat strength and increase his soul power. "Big brother, what's got you down these last couple of days?" Enea's eyes held concern. "It's my second golden soul ring. I still don't know what its skill does," Tang Wulin said. He did not hide from her anything about his bizarre bloodline or golden soul rings, only keeping the seals a secret. With both his parents missing, Enea was his last remaining family. "What about it?" Enea asked. "How about you show me? Maybe I can help you." "Okay." Tang Wulin urged his blood essence. Golden scales manifested on his body and 2 golden rings appeared around him. "Take a look." His first soul ring lit up and the golden scales became finer and more lustrous. Then he lit up the second ring. Tang Wulin was helpless to activate the skill any other way, stuck using Golden Dragon Body first, which increased his blood essence consumption significantly. The scales on his body shone with a dazzling light, miniature mirrors each and every one of them. 2 seconds later, the shining faded. "That's it. All it does is make me shiny for a couple of seconds. And it consumes a lot of blood essence. I have no idea how I'm supposed to use it. Nothing happens to my blood essence or soul power apart from them being consumed. I can't attack with it either." After some thought, Enea said, "What about defense? Did anything change about your defense?" Tang Wulin's eyes went blank as he searched within himself. Defense? I never thought about that. He had been too focused on improving his attack power. That was natural, since even his blue-silver grass functionality was mainly crowd control. Maybe it really is a defense skill? I didn't feel any changes to my defense though. "Well, let's test it out first," Enea said. "All right." But Tang Wulin's interest was waning. Even if it were a defense skill, he couldn't see how it would be useful or increase his combat power. He roused his blood essence once more and used the second blood essence soul skill. Again, his scales shone brightly. Enea summoned her spear into her hand in a flash of light. She swung the spear at his stomach without any hesitation. Tang Wulin's lit scales flashed. As soon as that happened, Enea felt a sucking force on her, the blood essence within her raging as it rushed out to be absorbed by Tang Wulin. After absorbing the blood essence, Tang Wulin shone even brighter. He felt the whole action keenly, the energy behind Enea's attack being drained to empower him, his own blood essence boiling with strength in the process. A dragon roared deep within him and he subconsciously directed a palm of golden dragon shocks the heavens toward the sky. The roar thundered, a phantom dragon head on the cusp of being tangible bursting out his open palm. Tang Wulin noticed the radiance of his body dim, but this golden dragon shocks the heavens he released was 4 times more powerful than normal. What happened? Enea's attack didn't hurt at all. Enea examined him pensively. It looks like it's more than just a defense skill. It occurred to Tang Wulin after finishing Golden Dragon Shocks the Heavens that not only was it far more destructive, it also consumed less energy and was released faster than usual. Is it some sort of support skill? Big brother, can you use it again? Enea asked. Yeah. I should be able to. Okay. Let's try it again then. Got it. Tang Wulin's second golden ring lit up on command. Instead of swinging her spear this time, Enea thrust it hard. It pierced through the air like a lightning bolt, straight for Tang Wulin's right arm where the scales were thickest. Upon impact, Tang Wulin's scales flashed brightly once more. Rather than facing the sky this time, he spun around and stomped on the ground. 8 phantom dragons burst from below him. Golden Dragon shakes the earth. Enea used her spear to vault into the air in an effort to avoid the phantom dragons. But it was to no avail. The pressure from Golden Dragon shakes the earth proved unescapable. A couple times she span in the air, silver hair whipping in the wind, silver light enveloping her body the moment she landed on his head. As Tang Wulin had informed her beforehand, the only safe location when he used Golden Dragon shakes the earth was on top of him. Did it hurt? Enea asked. Tang Wulin shook his head. The instant the spear had struck him, his scales lit up and he felt as if a burst of blood essence energy had been poured into him. Body urging to let out all that energy, he did so with Golden Dragon shakes the earth. During the whole event, he hadn't once felt pain, nor had his scales been damaged. That's good then. I think I know what your soul skill does too. Enea smiled. Tang Wulin looked at her curiously. So what is it? The first half is invincibility for about 2 seconds. She wrinkled her nose. Well, not quite invincibility. I'm sure you've heard of such skills before. One's where your defense triples for a moment, but it's practically invincibility during that time. The second half of the skill absorbs the opponent's attack energy and converts it into your own, empowering your next attack. When I hit you just now, I felt my soul power and blood essence being sucked into you. Really? Tang Wulin had already spent a semester at Shrek Academy, but he never heard of a soul skill like this. A smile continued to dance on Enea's lips. This isn't too strange for a soul skill. Besides, this isn't an ordinary soul skill to begin with. Anything is possible. If you use it well, you'll be unstoppable on the battlefield. Tang Wulin's heart raced. He mulled over her words, considering the possibilities. A potent counterattack skill. If he mastered it, it had the potential to be godly. Enea, try hitting me again. But harder this time. Let's see how strong my defense is, Tang Wulin said. Enea nodded. All right. Be careful. Tang Wulin grunted his affirmation, then called forth his blood essence. He could easily use his second blood essence soul skill 4 or 5 times. Enea took in a deep breath, a sharp glint in her eyes. Her aura completely transformed. Silver light burst from her body, obscuring her figure from Tang Wulin's view. She became one with her spear, a meter-long beam of light shooting out the spear's tip. Tang Wulin braced himself, not daring to underestimate the power within her spear. A shout brought forth her full might. She pointed her spear to the sky, her aura flaring. A wave of power crashed into Tang Wulin and all of his scales went erect, his soul power rapidly circulating to protect him. I'm going. Enea declared. Tang Wulin sucked air into his lungs, his second golden ring lighting up. His scales shone once more, resplendent gold fighting back the wave of silver. Silver streaked through the air, no more than a blur to the untrained eye. Tang Wulin couldn't follow it at all. Before his mind could catch up, a metallic clink rang out and two dragons roared, one roar reverberating and the other melodic. Which came from his body was anyone's guess. Energy flooded into him. In order to vent the excess energy, he released a golden dragon shocks the heavens, the phantom dragon head far larger and tangible than previous. It was nearly indistinguishable from a real dragon. The phantom soared into the sky, tearing through the air. Tang Wulin had to do his best to redirect it from attacking Enea. The silver dragon spear retreated, then softened and coiled around Enea. Silver light pulsed around it, fighting back against golden dragon shocks the heavens. Tang Wulin had never unleashed such a mighty golden dragon shocks the heavens. All of the seeds Shuosha had sowed with his teachings bore fruit, their mysteries coming together into one powerful attack. His internal energies were bubbling, both his soul power and blood essence sublimated. The phantom dragon head persisted for 3 more seconds before fading. With it followed Tang Wulin's scales and dominating blood essence aura. He couldn't sustain such power for very long with his current blood essence levels. Exhaustion finally caught up to him, weakness washing over him in a giant wave. But he didn't care about that. He was still overcome with joy. All the lesser techniques of Golden Dragon shocks the heavens had culminated into a single attack. Big brother, I don't think I can penetrate your defenses when you use that skill even if I attack with my full power. How do you feel now? Enea withdrew her spear and walked over to his side. Tang Wulin nodded, a grin on his face. Tired but great. I've got it now. The stronger the attack is, the more energy I absorb and the more powerful my counterattack. But it's a double-edged sword, the stronger the attack I take, the more of my blood essence is consumed. So in order to penetrate my defenses, your attack needs to overwhelm what my blood essence can handle. And if that happens, I'll be gravely wounded. But for the most part, it's exactly like you said. I'm practically invincible when I use it. An attack probably needs to be 2 or 3 times more powerful than my defense to overwhelm me. Enea wholeheartedly agreed. It's a godly skill. Tang Wulin's grin grew even bigger. I have to thank you. If it weren't for you, I would never have been able to figure out what this skill does. Once my blood essence has recovered tomorrow, let's do some more testing. I need to experiment with it more if I want to master it. I don't think I'll be able to break through your defense. If you had directed that attack earlier at me for real, I wouldn't have been able to come out unscathed. That attack contained both your power and mine. Big brother, what are you going to name this skill? Tang Wulin looked at her, eyes misting in thought, before shrugging. Enea giggled. How about I name it then? Sure. What do you want to call it? Tang Wulin beamed. Enea thought about it for a moment. Let's call it Golden Dragon Tyrant Body. Isn't that cool? Tang Wulin chuckled. Yes, yes. We'll go with that. It was quite fitting. Tang Wulin's first Golden Dragon King Blood Essence Soul skill was Golden Dragon Body. Now the second was Golden Dragon Tyrant Body. Although Tang Wulin didn't gain a ranged attack skill like he hoped, he was excited for the possibilities of Golden Dragon Tyrant Body after these initial tests. It was a skill that could reverse the tide of battle. The effect would be especially great when faced with an opponent far stronger than him. This skill was of great help to him in cultivating the 9 arts of the Scarlet Dragon. Unleashing Golden Dragon shocks the heavens and Golden Dragon shakes the earth while empowered by this skill beat using the 2 arts normally. By the time the new semester started, Tang Wulin had mastered the tricks of Golden Dragon shocks the heavens and nearly grasped the basics of Golden Dragon shakes the earth. In Shuosha's eyes, he was nothing short of a genius. Wulin, you need to focus on cultivating your soul power now. These arts I taught you are powerful and can help you out in battle, but soul power is still the basis of a soul master's strength. Quite a few of your classmates have already obtained their 4th ring. Don't fall behind. And once you gain another ring, many more doors will open up for you, Shuishi said as he saw Tang Wulin off. A chill ran through Tang Wulin's heart. All of my teachers keep telling me to focus on cultivating my soul power. Looks like I really need to put more time into that once the new semester starts. If I can't reach rank 40 by the end of the second semester, then I've got to do it by the end of the third. Each semester was a year long, and once the fourth semester came along, they would be in the second grade. Before leaving Sea God's Island, Tang Wulin sought out Enea. Harboring a lush forest, the island was eternally saturated with a refreshing scent. If Tang Wulin had a choice, he would never leave. He would be able to cultivate faster on this island, but in the end, he had no choice in the matter. He wasn't an inner court student yet. Even if he were, not just anyone had the qualifications to step onto Sea God's Island. He had to spare no effort to grow and earn the right to be here. Enea, I'm going back to the outer court now. Work hard in the inner court. Tang Wulin placed his hand on top of her head, ruffling the silver locks. Her eyes were red, brimming with tears. But big brother, I don't want you to go. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.